കൊട്ടാരക്കര താലൂക്ക് ആശുപത്രിയിൽ ജോലിക്കിടെയാണ് വനിതാ ഡോക്ടർ അതിമാരകമാവിധം പരിക്കേൽപ്പിച്ച ഒരു കൊലപ്പെടുത്തുന്നത്.
It's shocking.
A 23-year-old doctor Vandana was stabbed to death.
It's unfortunate.
ഡോക്ടർമാരും ചുമ്മാതെ കുറെ ബോണ്ടും വെച്ച് ഇല്ലാത്ത 10-100-120 മണിക്കൂർ പണി എടുപ്പിച്ച് എങ്ങനെയാലും ഒക്കെ നമുക്ക് അഡ്ജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം.
And it's unacceptable. But the important question is, what does the future of medicine looks like in India? Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Omar Mohammed, a final year MBBS student. An MBBS student who studies in the same state of Kerala as Dr. Vandana Das. An MBBS student who may soon become a doctor, and I am genuinely worried about the current state of affairs in medicine. The medical fraternity in India is going through a special period of challenges which is often not spoken about. In fact, according to the ongoing reports by the Indian Medical Association, around 75% of doctors have gone through some form of abuse or violence at their workplaces in their lifetime, whether it is physical, mental or verbal. And there are countless other statistics which throw light on the rising depression rates, suicide rates and workplace abuse. But let's put all those numbers aside and let's discuss and analyze what are some of the harsh truths about being a doctor in modern times, and most importantly, where does this all end? What does the future of our healthcare look like? For the young viewers on this channel who are aspiring to be doctors one day, you must definitely watch this video till its end. Back in 2019, I still fondly remember the initial foundation days of my first year. For 3 consecutive days, our young enthusiastic minds were asked to discuss and enlighten our views on how an ideal doctor-patient relationship should be. And we discussed about how patient safety is the primary responsibility of a doctor and how patient welfare should trump over everything. Yet, 3 years down the line, when similar sessions were conducted amongst us, there was a shift in the way the discussions revolved. This time, the discussions revolved around doctor safety. This time, the discussion revolved around stories of doctors getting beaten up. This time, the discussion revolved around medical malpractice and medical negligence, which makes us question what actually changed in the last 3 years.
लेकिन उस बच्चे के रिलेटिव्स ने डॉक्टर पर तलवार से अटैक किया और
കേരളത്തെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് ലജ്ജിച്ച് തലതാഴ്ത്തേണ്ട ഒരു സന്ദർഭമാണിത്.
It all starts with the issue of workplace safety and workplace security. The incidents of doctors getting abused, harassed, beaten up or now even getting killed is on the rise. And it is now a fact that a large number of the young doctors and aspiring medical students like us now live in fear to practice medicine. And it's not just because of the abuse, it's also about the fear of medical negligence. In fact, if you're wondering how large is the fear of medical negligence among young doctors, let me just throw you a statistic. According to the National Law School of India University, there has been a rise in the number of medical negligence cases filed over the past decade by over 400%. What this means is that in the near future, every doctor must hire a personal lawyer as well. Couple this with the fact that most doctors have to work for insanely long hours every single week. An average resident doctor works anywhere between 70 to 100 hours a week depending upon the specialty. And you have to understand that a doctor has no Sundays, a doctor has no holidays. In fact, I have met residents, and this is not an exaggeration by any means, I have met residents in my college who haven't seen sunlight for over a month. These residents have been working 12-hour and 24-hour shifts for 1 month, where they spend all of their time inside the hospital. They eat their food in the hospital, they sleep inside the hospital, even their rooms and hostels are within the hospital itself. That's the condition of many residents and interns in our country. And the worst part is this is all normalized. Working for such insane hours without proper sleep and personal care is often considered to be the norm among the young house surgeons and most importantly the residents in this country. And why does this problem happen? Well, this happens because of something called as the staff shortage. Staff shortage is an issue which is present without any doubt in almost all the medical colleges in our country, especially the government medical colleges. But unfortunately, there isn't any real action taken by any government or any authority on this matter which brought a genuine fruitful change. With the staff shortage, now I come to my next point, which is the system of hierarchy and ranking which exists in most medical colleges. From day one itself, medical students get the heat of hierarchy in this profession. Ranking is prevalent in most medical colleges in one form or the other, but thankfully there are some improvements which have taken place in that regard. However, the condition of residents and interns are still pathetic. And the reason this happens is not because of one or two individuals, but this happens because a system came into existence because of long years of practice of this hierarchy. Those who sit at the top right now have gone through these struggles during their early young days, and because of that they do not wish to take an initiative and they do not wish to change the circumstance of the young residents or interns, and that is why there is this mindset that the young doctors will also have to go through the same stress, the same struggle and the same abuse to become good doctors. So with that mindset, what we have is young doctors who are often frustrated at their workplace and who constantly question whether they have made the right decision choosing medicine as a career. And if you look at analyze the NEET post-graduation results and how the seats are filled up, what we realize is that the young generation of doctors are preferring for specialties like radiology or dermatology or other non-clinical specialties where there is minimal patient interaction, better work-life balance and less chance of medical negligence. Having said all of this, when you add the level of academic stress and competitiveness in this field, things just start to blow up. To become a doctor of value in the modern times, you have to begin your journey right from the most fruitful years of your school life. During your NEET days, you will have to literally give up on everything and just focus on your 3 core subjects. By cracking one of the most difficult examinations in the entire world, you get an MBBS seat. During your MBBS days, you spend 5.5 years going through countless examinations, having sleepless nights and missing out on many important events in your life. Weddings, vacations and much more. At the end of the road, even though you get a doctor's degree, you start to realize that in the modern times, post-graduation has become necessary, which means that you will have to repeat this entire NEET cycle again and appear for the NEET postgraduate examination or the next examination, but this time with more uncertainties, more insecurities and more responsibilities on your shoulders. Once you make it through the NEET examination, you enter the residency phase, and residency is hell in most colleges where you will have to work 80 to 100 hours every single week for the next 3 to 4 years. After your residency is over, you come to the realization that in the modern times, super speciality is the norm. So you will have to again sit through another NEET super speciality examinations, get a super speciality degree by spending another 3 to 4 years. And even after that, it takes around 5 to 10 years of extra work to get a valuable reputation name as a good doctor. In a nutshell, by becoming a doctor, your entire youth is consumed up writing examinations and working for long hours. And by the time you start to make a good name for yourself and money for yourself, your hair will have already turned grey. Last but not the least, it is important to speak about how the public perception of doctors and how the public perception of medicine has changed over the years. With the Consumer Protection Act in place, there has been a substantial damage which has taken place to the doctor-patient relationship. The doctor-patient relationship nowadays is unfortunately shifting towards a more consumer-producer relationship where patient is seen as a consumer and doctor is seen as a producer who is providing a medical service or a product. What this has led to is the death of holistic approach in medicine, and this is also one of the reasons why we see the rising incidence of abuse or harassment between doctors and patients. The most important question we need to ask ourselves is, what does the future of healthcare looks like for our country? With all the facts which I have stated in this video, what we will witness and what we are witnessing in fact is the birth of defensive medicine as a form of practice. If you are wondering what defensive medicine is, it's basically a form of practice where doctors carry out additional investigations and diagnostic procedures. In other words, it's a form of practice where doctors will prioritize their own personal safety over the life of a patient. You have to understand that as a doctor, we'll have to make certain judgments and take out certain risks in order to save the patient. But with defensive medicine being the norm, doctors will stop taking risks that will threaten their existence even if it comes at the cost of a patient's life. And who are going to suffer from this? Ultimately, the patients, and in a broader sense, it is a society that will suffer when defensive medicine starts to become the norm. Migration is another consequence. The current trend is to migrate to countries like UK, US, Australia, Canada, or Middle East, where doctors live under far better conditions with shorter working hours, better wages, and good work-life balance. In fact, I was surprised to know that more than 1/3 of the current house surgeons in my college are already preparing for examinations like PLAB and USMLE, which will help them to settle abroad. When I include the matter with some of my friends who are studying in private medical colleges, the situation is also much worse over there. More than half of their seniors are already planning to leave this country and settle abroad. Now, while this migration thing is also true for other professions as well, you need to realize that in India there is already an existing shortage of doctors. In fact, according to the World Health Organization, in India, for every doctor, there are 1,457 people who are seeking his or her medical attention. So it is a need of the heart to bring about a change in order to protect not only the future of doctors, but also the future of healthcare in our country. If you're an elite aspirant and if you're planning to take a drop year to attempt your NEET for the third or fourth time, you really have to sit through your decision. You really have to be aware of these realities, because medicine is not all gloom like you think it is. It's high time for the governments and authorities to act before it's too late. A happy doctor, a satisfied patient, and a just legal system seems to be the only way forward.